All right. What's happening with you, pimp? Just getting off work. As y'all can see by the title, relationship voyeurism. So I was at work. I was listening to Roland Martin put his take on the Will and Jada thing. And one of the things he was talking about was people looking at celebrities as relationship goals. And that's not a good thing. I started thinking that, that's what pretty much we do. We are relationship voyeurs. We want to be somebody else and want to be in other people's relationships or want to have their type of relationships, whether um, they're married or single. And it's interesting because one of the things he brought up is relationship goals. And this is where I'm starting because the thing about relationship goals is people want relationship goals for the good stuff. You know, the they're successful relationship goals. But when they were going through bad stuff, what's up, Tony? When they were going through bad stuff, they wasn't your relationship goal. You know, so we have this uh, mentality that's I want a relationship like everybody's when their relationship is going great. But I'm gonna get to that part later. But relationship goals is based in celebrity. You know, people wanted to be um, Barack and Michelle. People wanted to be a power couple, Jay-Z and Beyonce. People wanted to be um, people wanted to be Will and Jada. You know, and what's crazy about it is all these people that people wanted to be like. What's up, honey? Over time, it's not. You want to be like Alicia Keys, and some people want to be like Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats. You know, um, but these marriages are not perfect. These relationships, some people want to be like Future and Sierra, and some people want to be like Russell Wilson and Sierra. That's your relationship. But do you actually want to go through what it took to get to that spot? And this is where um, a lot of us kind of go wrong because you want a relationship like somebody else's, but so you don't want one like your own. Amon, what's happening? You don't want a relationship like that works for you. You want a relationship that works for TV, that works for social media, that works, yeah, I definitely get it, honey. That works for, you know, um, your ego or to impress somebody. And that's where all this stuff goes wrong because the goal of a relationship is for you two to be together. Like when people would say, I want to build, most of these people don't want to build anything with a person. You looking at other people who you feel built something together and you want to have something like they have something and you're hoping to meet somebody who's closer to that peak, that zenith, so you can hop on in for the ride. Well, oh, we balling, relationship goals. Oh, we famous, relationship goals. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got a lot of followers, relationship goals. But the things that happen in that relationship, ah, the heck, you don't want any parts of. I don't know. Oh, hell. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes when you eat, I don't know, things happen. I'm going to cut my tooth. But sorry. So what ends up happening is, and I'm going to get to the next part about ego. A lot of us are looking at ourselves as celebrities and superstars in relationships. You thought you was Michael Jackson when you was a kid. Bobby Brown, New Edition, Tupac, you know what I'm saying, Biggie, Diddy, or you thought you was, I don't know, like somebody famous, right? You are that, you Kobe, MJ. So now you're looking at yourself as, this is who I am. So you looking at your relationships as, you know, you're a voyeur, like, I deserve somebody like this because I'm a celebrity. Don't know, you're not a celebrity though. You're not. You're not famous. Don't nobody know you like that. You're not an icon. But going out to date, and what I mean by relationship voyeurism, you can't date people and you got to watch them for a fall. Renaissance, like, what's happening? You can't get in certain relationships because your ego says you're a 10. That's what your ego told you. But since your ego said you're a 10, you're a 10. And now the people that approach you, they're not good enough. Or the people you approach, you might approach them as, look, I'm a 10 and you beneath me. I'm doing you a favor by talking to you. I'm doing you a favor by being around you. Because this relationship, I'm seeing myself as something that I'm not, that's better than what I actually am at the moment. And if you're going to be in a relationship with me, I'm the top dog. And why I'm saying is a voyeur is because you ain't even got in a relationship yet. You mentally thinking this out and saying this to yourself and bringing all the people in the world into a relationship that haven't even started yet. So because of your ego and need to believe that you're a celebrity, you don't really get into relationships. You watch from afar. You watching like, they don't, I'm too good for these people. I could, I'm top tier. Are you really? Fine. If you believe that, fine, no problem. But some people take it too far. Adding to that, people have deal breakers. And because we got this voyeurism, somebody's more inclined to watch other people's relationships and not get in one by their deal breakers. Oh, I'm not taking that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. I need this. When you start needing and like, there's nothing wrong with having standards. There's nothing wrong with having preferences. But when you don't match your own standards and you don't match your own preferences, and it's a deal breaker for you, you never really gonna be in a relationship. You can keep saying you're too good for people, but reality is you're not on their level. You're just not. But that's your deal breaker. I need somebody at a certain status. Are you at that status? No. I need somebody of a certain look. Are you in that looks department? No. I need somebody who has a certain amount of money. Do you have a certain amount of money? No. Well, what's the problem here? The problem is you're watching other people. That's what they got. That's what I should get. We grown, right? Hey, it needs to be comfy. Today is a long day. It's 98 degrees out here. I'm tired. But that's the thing about it. It's like they need to be something because you want them to be something. They need to fit your standards because you have inflated standards of yourself, and which puts you in a position where your deal breakers keep you single. And you can never find somebody good enough. It's always something. And what I mean by that is people start nitpicking people apart. Because You would rather watch other people's relationships, and you keep making up new deal breakers. You keep putting up new walls, and you keep having new what do you call that? Um, New hoops for somebody to jump through. Phantom, what's happening? You got new hoops for people to jump through because you can't be in a relationship. You want to watch other people's relationships. You want a relationship like you see other people have, but you don't want to be in it. Armchair, a Monday morning quarterback, an armchair quarterback. Somebody who's watching from the stands. Don't go that way. Go that way. So when it's time for you to play, what you doing? I'm not really playing, but I can see it from up here. I bet you can see it from up here. You up here. You not down there. You'd rather watch it than actually be in it. And a lot of us don't want to admit that when it comes to relationships, we would rather watch relationships than be in them. Everything is a train wreck waiting to happen. Everything is a reason to help our confirmation bias. This is why I'm not doing it. You see, that's why I'm not going to do it. See, that's why I'm not going to talk to nobody. That's why. Okay. All right. You got a lot of deal breakers, huh? Yes, I do. But majority of them don't make sense, though. Yes, they do. No, they actually don't. They actually do not. But that's what happens with a lot of people. A lot of unnecessary deal breakers. So you can complain to the world that, hey, it's your fault. And the reason why, that's part of the issue is because a lot of this stems from families. And when we're young, we're relationship voyeurs because we're kids coming up in our families, and we're seeing the married people in our families, we're seeing the single people in our families, we're seeing the good side of marriage and the bad side of marriage, we're seeing the good side of being single and the bad side of being single. So the family dynamic, you see, how you might end up, whether that be good or bad. So you've been watching relationships your whole life where, you know, you I want to be with somebody like this. I don't want to be with somebody like that. I want to be somebody who's like this. I don't want to be somebody who's like that. And a lot of us don't want to take into consideration that what really winds up happening is we're led by fear of the bad things that happen in our families, and we're led by, how can I say this? Mistrust. Because the good relationships we really don't talk about. When we watch good relationships, they're boring. When we watch entertaining relationships, they're usually bad. And you don't want to be in a bad relationship, but it's entertaining. So you might wind up gravitating to that entertaining type of relationship that's bad, because that's what you liked watching. You didn't like watching people get along. But ironically, the people who normally get along is the people who, as you get older, those are the people you want to be around and be with and be just like. But you don't really watch their relationship like that. Excuse me. People do not watch good relationships as thoroughly as they watch bad relationships. You know, people don't watch good relationships go through ups and downs. You find out about it later because you're not paying attention to it. But you watch people get cheated on. You watch people who are physically abusive. You watch people who are quote unquote verbally abusive. You watch people who are irresponsible and stay in relationships. You watch that. And you watch all the excuses other people give people to continue to be dysfunctional. It's not a big deal for a lot of us. Some of us say it's a big deal, a lot of us don't. And the reason why, I'm bringing families in, I'm going to bring marriage into it next, but the reason I'm saying this is because your family start being voyeurs to your family. You watch everybody's relationship, and as you get older, you start putting your input on it, and they start putting their input on yours. And a lot of that input comes from past situations, projection, and sometimes, how can I say this? Sometimes wise counsel, you know. But the thing about it is, we listen to people who project far too much. Sorry about that. Phone rung. But it goes back to they doing this, that, and the third. This person is doing this. This person do. I know when I was like back in the day, I was this type of person. When I was this age, I was like this. They gonna be like this. You don't even know these people. Sometimes you got people like, yeah, they remind me of this. They might be like that. You got to look out for this, look out for that. But and then you got wise people who are like, hey, if you get in relationships, they're gonna be ups and downs. You might like somebody and they might be the wrong person to like. Somebody might fool you. They might be one way in the beginning, and a few months later they're somebody else. You got to be careful about that. So know all of the things that can happen. Some people might be there for you when times are good. They might dip out on you at the first sign of trouble, or the first sign something bad happens. And a lot of us kind of forget that. We skip that part. As far as family is concerned. So, oh, excuse me. So the other thing that's, in my opinion, part of this voyeurism is marriages. And the reason I separated marriages from families is because the older you get, the people who are married in your family, they married. Some people get divorced, but the older you get, you're going to run into more married people. And you start to see the marriages that if you want to get married, the type of marriage you want and the type that you don't want in other people who are normally in your same age range. Some people are like, why are y'all getting married? Why would you marry them? They're not ready for that. Or you get people, how can I say this, who take a liking to your significant other, your spouse, because they wish they was married to somebody like them. So now they pseudo go out in the world looking for somebody like who you with, or who's married that they know, and is because they watching from the outside. They make a really good husband. They make a really good wife. I wish I could meet somebody just like them. And you can't, because everybody's a one-on-one. But all of a sudden, you're looking at them like, are they happy? Because this is where people step into the fold of relationships, in the sense of you want to take somebody from somebody, or you're preying on somebody's relationship downfall because you want them, and the reason you want them because you watching them from afar and you putting yourself in that. If that was me and them, it'd be like this. Or if that was me and them, it'd be like that. If that was me and them, we would go here, we'd go there. If that was me and them, this what happens. MCJ, what's popping? Emmanuel, what's going on? You dog all right, Emmanuel. Yeah, more, what's popping? This is where we at, though. This is our society. I want what you got, because I like what you got. And what you got is so good, in my opinion, I can't find, I've been looking for it, but I can't find it. And then you got people who get married and then they get divorced and they're in your same age group and they ward it off. I don't want to get married. Never again. And you never ask, you know, it's a one-sided story per se. But on top of that, those same people after a few years might want to get married again. There's a lot of people who've been divorced who want to be remarried. Whether if they realize they like um, the companionship or the teamwork of marriage, they just either blew it because they were the problem or the other person was quote unquote the problem, but they like the institution of it in itself. So different strokes for different folks. Now, get into this to us single folks, right? It's funny because a lot of us single folks don't want to admit that we watch other people's relationships. Like, you see, that's why I'm single right there. Okay. That didn't happen to you because you ain't got nobody. Don't nobody like you like that. You don't approach people. You don't talk to people. So, you voyeur, you watching other people's relationships as a way to justify you being single. And the irony of that is, you know, you are still attracted to the opposite sex. You still want to be with them, at least sexually, or be in some type of companionship, or you want to have friends or whatever you want to have. But you want to be around the opposite sex. But you've watched so many relationships from the outside, you're not too sure if you want to do it. And sometimes it ain't just the negative part. Sometimes we watch people's relationships and we don't want to be that committed. I don't want to be that committed to a person. You get what I'm saying? Why do I got to call them? Why do I got to tell them where I'm at? I'm grown. I'm watching you in your relationship and you just, you going to stop everything you doing for them? Like, you just going to go be with them like that? You just going to leave? Like, I ain't going to never be the type to just pick up and go because somebody called me. Nah. You know what I'm saying? If you was me, I wouldn't go. If you was me, I wouldn't do it. If you was me, if I was you, I'd be by my doggone self complaining about what I'm doing. What's up, Rashawn? John, what's happening? I get what you're talking about, Rashawn. Definitely. And it becomes if it was you, she never. I've seen that. That's actually. But people pull that game. If it was me, it ain't you though. It ain't gonna never be you though. And then this is one of the issues that keep people single. Like I said, partially projection, because now you've been watching everybody else's relationship, and you're not getting to know your partner better than you are your voyeurism. Because if they do something, it reminds you of something that somebody else did in a relationship that they don't even know nothing about. Probably not. They're not the same person. It's not the same context. It's just you don't like that because somebody else did it, or you like that because somebody else did it. So do that for me because I liked it when I saw it. Them do that for another person. Now it's like, okay, you single? You want to stay single? But I want this perfect relationship. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. There's no such thing as a perfect partner. There's a partner that you're willing to rock with, period. And you're going to have to accept some good things and you're going to have to accept some bad things. The thing about it is you are expecting the good to outweigh the bad by a lot. Not a little, not 51-49, a lot. That 80-20 rule type thing. when you're looking for 20, you've watched people and observed people who left for 20. And here's the irony about that. It never worked out. Never worked out. You know, but they never seemed. Oh, I'm gonna get into that because that's my next point is actually about, you know, everybody else is the problem. Relationship, people are toxic. But that's what I mean by voyeurism. A lot of times we watch toxic people, and we watch toxic people in toxic relationships, and that's why I'm not doing this. That's why I ain't talking to this person. That's why, But what about the person that's not like that? You're not talking to them neither. You know. Yeah. So this is the other thing. Everybody else is the problem. And I heard Roland Martin say this. He said, if you say every relationship you've been in is bad, that means you're bad in every relationship. But when we watch other people and we watch other people's relationships and breakups and fallouts and divorces, normally what we hear is it was always the other person. Even if we know this person and we know it was actually them, what you normally hear is everybody else but the person. Keena, what's happening? That's hilarious. You know, but it's everybody else's fault. Because when I watched them, you know, it was such and such fault. When I watched them, it was his fault. When I was watching them, it was her fault. So when you enter into a relationship and people are watching you, whose fault is it? What's up? My bad, Sister George, what's happening? You know, he's playing 2K, uh-oh. So when you in these relationships, you watching other people, and it's everybody else's fault. And sometimes you can be in the relationship and watching it and making up reasons why the other person is wrong. Why it was everybody else. Have you ever been with a person who, or have you ever been this person whose mouth is out of pocket, but Cortez, what's happening, Hotel? Whose mouth is out of pocket. They say things or do things that they just act like they don't remember, and they keep moving on. And then it's like, oh, so there's no apology, there's no atonement here. You just gonna say this out of pocket stuff or do this out of pocket stuff and just come back like ain't nothing happened. Oh, okay. All right. It wasn't me. I looked you dead in your face. Wasn't me. Shaz I was happening. So, not that everybody else is the problem, and it's not you, because you never took a good look at you, because you never intended to. You never intended to say, you know what? I did do that. You know what? I shouldn't have did that. When I was watching them, this person reminds me of this person I was dating. And the reason why I'm saying is voyeurism, part of it, this relationship voyeurism, because when we watch other people, thanks, Cortez. When we watch other people and we see the mistakes they make, the irony of it is, when you make that very same mistake, you justify it. You were watching this other person's relationship and they did something out of pocket. You're like, I can't rock with that. But when you do it, see what had happened was, you taking it out of context. See, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and in the middle of it, and then, I felt like this, and then I did that. No, because I'm watching you. It's like you watching me, I'm watching you. Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me. But this goes into play with this. This keeps going on, watching everybody, because we don't never see the things we do. Never. Like I don't remember cussing you out in front of your family. My family remember. I remember. I remember cheating on you. I remember catching you. I remember talking to you like that. I remember sending you those messages. Still got them. Voicemail, text, still got them. And, and then and then complaining about other people. Because part of this is, it's always the other person, because some of this voyeurism is sometimes we bring other people into relationships. You go to other people complaining about somebody that you with. So now they watching your relationship from your one-sided point of view, or you're watching their relationship from their one-sided point of view, and you hearing the stories, and half of it add up, half of it don't. And now you got to take into consideration, oh, it's over. Okay, it deserves to be over. And then all of a sudden, we in this position where this person was supposed to be the villain, but they can get along with somebody, and you, who was supposed to be the good person, can't. But so when you go to that other person they watching a relationship, you're trying to figure out, wait, how did they move on and get somebody, and you ain't never been with nobody since? And people can say, oh, I've been traumatized. It's been, I've went through issues. I was abused, and then it dawns on a person. I've been, you've been pointing the finger at other people so long. I've been watching everybody that you was with, but you, but you, you know, talk with the enemy, you know, and I get it, because this is what goes on. When you wind up in a situation where you've heard all these bad things about somebody, but then you run into people that know them and they say nothing but good things. You trying to figure out how to. All these people say they A1, and this person said that they like, I don't get it. And maybe they different in a relationship. Maybe you so accustomed to watching relationships with the side eye, you can't see straight. Maybe, just maybe, that's it. Because every time somebody has a relationship, you like, yo, what is fact? What is fiction? What is nonfiction? You get what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? Excuse me. Another thing about this. We practicing relationship voyeurism on attraction. Well, yeah, people don't want to talk to the person directly. They know you, because they've watched you or they've heard of you. They know everything about you from afar. Because I love watching how their relationship is. I want, that's part of the T or whatever. Observing people's relationships and, getting to that. Let me just say this. One of the reasons we like watching other people's relationships and commenting on them is because we don't want nobody talking about our relationships, and we don't want to talk about our relationships. So, I'm gonna love talking about what's going on in your relationship, in your house, and why that's dysfunctional and why that's wrong. You know, Raise your hand. I've done it. I've done it. But can I say, yo, what's up, CJ? You know, but but can I say what I've done? Am I gonna tell you? Oh yeah, I did this and I did that and that. Now I'm gonna tell you. When they say it's one finger pointing at you, and it's 3 point, it's 1 point pointing out and 3 pointing at you, saying whatever. I mess it up. But this is what we're doing. Now getting to the thing about attraction. We're voyeurs in the sense of whether it's us or somebody else. I want to be with somebody who look like that. I want to be with somebody like that. Oh, that's me. That's me right there. You know what I'm saying? Social media room. I got you. Like, I want to be, they're attractive. That's me. I deserve that. I earned that. I woke up this morning. That's me. Here's the problem. If you solely basing your when you attraction is the first thing that you see, but and we do this more so than women, guys. Is she's so fine that she got good morals. She too fine to have bad morals. Look at her, she's an angel. No, and other dudes look at it. Oh yeah, she's got to be a good person. You look at it, you see it. I see him. She's fine. She's got to have a good heart with an ass like that. Look at that. Jesus, God has got to be in her with a. God had to give her a good heart with a body like that. You know. So I was like, come on. You guys like, if you don't talk to it, I'm gonna talk. If you don't get it, I'm gonna get it. Now we sprinting to the. Pow! Let me holler at you. Let me holler, 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 holler. You know. So now we voyeurs like, oh, now if it's not working out the way you thought, other people, I wouldn't lead that. Now they too fine to lead. Now hey, now I'm watching you. Now you're doing good because you with them. Now you go f up if you're not with them. Now because they too fine to leave. Now they too good. Listen, you got to stay. I heard they tried to take your eye with a grapefruit spoon, but that's okay. You got two eyes. Okay, just keep the patch on for a little bit. Just a little bit, you can blink, you can still blink. It's blurry, you can still see out that eye. But they too fine now. You can't go nowhere. Because if it was me, that's the best I could do. Okay. So this is what we doing now. This is how we gonna get into relationships now. We're gonna watch from afar and say, hey, I would love listen. I would love to plant this Johnson and whoo. Woo! I would love to plant my Johnson and Miss Johnson. That's what all I want to do. Like, that's all I need to do in my life. Just put that on my tombstone. He smashed Miss Johnson. That's it. But you really don't want to go, be there for everything that goes on in that relationship. You there out for the attraction and for the sex. Now, speaking of attraction and sex, we into this relationship voyeurism when it comes to infidelity. Oh, they getting cheated on. I wouldn't let nobody cheat on me. I wouldn't take that. I see it. Here's the hypocrisy. If you know somebody cheating on somebody, if they're your family or friends, if the cheater is your family or your friend, you're not supposed to tell them. You're not supposed to tell the person that they're cheating on. If the person getting cheated on is your family or friend, you're not supposed to tell them because y'all gonna get in a fight because they might not believe. But you're not supposed. But watching from afar, watching this relationship, and it wouldn't be me. Well, here's the thing. Pretty much everybody, the vast majority of people in America got cheated on. You know why? Because the people who knew that they were cheating didn't tell you. And it could be you. It was you. Some of you don't even know you were cheated on. You never found out, or you found out they were messing with them. Why didn't nobody tell me? Because they was watching. I ain't finna, nah, yeah, you two in love, dog. I see you got the puppy dog eyes. Don't leave me. That'll break their heart. I just gotta let them find out on their own. And then, we talk about, you always the last to know. Yeah, it's part of what happens. See, people watch these relationships. They ain't gonna tell you. They ain't gonna tell you it's you. Kind of like the infidelity when you watching a relationship is like true story. So I was in my 20s. I think I talked about this before. What's up, Righteous? How you feeling? I was in my 20s. A friend of mine had got married. maybe a year, 2 years into the marriage, he, you know, man, it's all good, fam. I hope you're doing well. I'm watching the marriage. They doing good, so I think. The next thing I know, a homeboy out with this. He meets this chick. She's finer than his wife. You know, but she's one of those, you know, baby mama hood rat types who got multiple kids. So she just trying to snatch a man. So he, you know, dipping in and dipping out with this chick, and his wife figure it out. So it's uncomfortable for me because I'm like, I can't go over your house no more, bro. Because you know, yo, I could tell it ain't, and your wife ready to, she gonna set it off. I go out to a club one night. Who do I see? His wife with her girlfriends. Girls' night out. So I'm chilling, dancing, clowning. And she like, hey, come hang out with me and my girls. I'm like, all right, no problem. I know you. It's not like I was in the wedding. Like, next thing I know, you know, I'm surrounded by extra large butts. Just, I'm like, I'm dancing with some of them. And then I pause and I'm like, let me get the heck out of here, cause one of them girls was trying to take me home, and it's like all the girls was together. I know some guys think, oh man, that was good. You could have smashed about 3, 4. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Cause wife would have been there, and that's a good situation to be in. When like, I'm gonna smash one of the dudes in your wedding because you up with this chick. Oh, I don't want them kind of problems. But when I'm talking about infidelity, this is what goes on. This is what people do. You know. So at the same time, they still together though. I saw them years later. They still together. So here's the thing. When you say what you wouldn't do or what you wouldn't accept, uh, uh, I ain't trying to get in that, fam. What you wouldn't do and what you wouldn't accept and what you watching for from afar. And if it was me, I would this, that, and the third. Don't put that on somebody who's married or in a committed relationship, because they might stay together regardless of the infidelity, regardless of it. Like, so don't think because you in the mix you wouldn't do it, you know, it's gonna stop. Because truth be told, a lot of people don't want to admit that they've been cheated on, and they stayed with the person that cheated on them. I mean, we stayed with people who disrespected us. We stayed with people who played us. We stayed with people who finessed us out of cash. So we stayed with people who were just walking calamities, and they were destroying everything around us. So don't sit there when you watching other people's relationships like, I wouldn't stay for that. I wouldn't be for that. I wouldn't go for this. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Because you have in a different, either in that same way or a different way. But when you're watching other people's relationships, you can act like it wasn't you. You know, if we're going to tell it all. You know, I haven't been on this platform for this many years. You know, right, you can't control somebody else. Like, but but some people gonna forgive people. Like, I remember there was a young lady I went to college with, and she was very, very attractive, you know. And I wound up hooking up with one of her friends. Um, I used to see her at night at the clubs. And I went out to clubs, but I didn't go out clubbing a lot. But she was always in the nightlife, and to the point where, you know, she was known by a lot of people. So I thought this girl was single. The whole time I thought she was single. Come to find out, she living in an apartment with her man. So I get invited to like a housewarming party, her and her man. The dude proposes to her at the party. Now this is where I meet her friend at the party. I'm still caught off guard because I'm like, she got a man? Wow. She living with this dude? This day apartment? Wow. Cause every time I see her, she leaving 1, 2, 3 in the morning with a different dude. Like, how she pull this off? So he gets down, proposes. She curve him. You know, I'm kind of glad that the friend feeling me, so me and the friend leave because I don't want to be there for that. Years later, as the years go by, she's still in the club, but her body is starting to get warm from all that action. Years later, I see her when she's working. I ain't gonna say she fell off, but she was falling. I met her other road dog that was good friends. She completely fell off. And what I remember about that is this. She was. What I remember about that is this. I remember back then she was always looking for the better deal. So she was seeing other people in a better position and she was looking for the better deal. And when I saw her, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, she wasn't in she wasn't in a position in life that she would have been if she would have picked somebody. And I know looking back on it, she's like, I was watching what everybody else had, and I done had this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And I can say the same thing about myself to a degree, where I've had some good women in my life and it didn't work out, and I've had some bad women in my life that didn't work out. And when I was younger, in some relationships I didn't get into with women because of I wanted a different type of relationship, or I wanted a different type of woman, or I wanted something, that I thought everybody else had. So this I'm not talking out of the side of my neck and just making this up. I'm putting it on other people. I've done the same thing. Uh, what I'm saying is, when you come to a point where you get addicted to that, you get too old for that. It's like you watching everybody else. Everybody else ain't you. You know, all the relationships you want, are they for something real or for something fake? And what I mean by the voyeurism, a lot of this stuff comes from something fake. We're watching somebody's relationships from the outside, and we want something like that, but we don't even know. You don't know how those people met. You don't know how those people interact. You're viewing people on seeing them interact in certain spaces, and sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're not. You don't view people on a daily basis. So it's like, you know, they made a great first impression on you, so you want a relationship like that where it makes great first impressions on other people. Which leads me to the last two things. Uh, that's the voyeurism is for the good times. When we think about people in relationships that we like the good times. We like um, when they was balling together, when they was killing it together, right? When they was the most relevant, you know. We like that they're successful. We like that, everybody's talking about them. But we forget those very same relationships had down spells. And if you want a relationship like that, you might have to go through the same down spells that they went through. You can't just have a great relationship from watching somebody else's great relationship because you want all the good times that they had, but you're going to have to go through the bad times too. Damn it, what's happening? I had a good one. I hope you had a good one too, fam. You know, you can't have that. I want a great relationship like them. Well, remember when they had that scandal? Yeah. And yeah, we made fun of them. Yeah. And then they bounced back and they was killing it. Yeah. Well, you might have to go through that if you want a relationship like that. You know. All right, all right. So that's a problem. Now, the last part of this is the most simple part, and I alluded to it earlier. We like watching everybody else's relationship when we ain't never in one. I'm gonna tell you what you need to do. You can't tell me shit. You ain't never in a relationship. I'm gonna tell you what you not to do. You can't tell me nothing. You ain't in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you how these. I'm gonna tell you how these women are. How you gonna tell me how these women are if you ain't never with them? How you gonna tell me, female nature if you ain't with females? How you gonna tell me woman's nature if you ain't never with women? And I'm not talking about old school guys who've been there. Yeah, I definitely, Derek. Like old school guys who've dated for years, been married, been divorced, they ain't, you know, they ain't the ones, when they tell you something, they talking from experience. But if you, and if you young, and you ain't really been in that many relationships, but you want to give relationship advice, you ain't never in a relationship. You giving your relationship advice from watching other people's relationships and saying, that ain't gonna be me. But you ain't in enough relationships to know if it's gonna be you yet. Because it might be. You can't, like you said earlier, you can't control what other people do. Some people make good choices, some people make bad choices. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go to the gun range and take gun advice from somebody who's never shot a gun before. Oh, I wouldn't shoot that if I was you. So what you got? Bow and arrow. Shut the hell up. Don't tell me nothing. Look, I ain't come here to shoot a bow and arrow. Yeah, if I talk to you about a bow and arrow, I'm coming. But this gun talk. No left is to Steve Harvey Oprah. You can listen to Steve Harvey or Oprah. Do you gotta listen? Do you gotta take all that shit in? No. Steve Harvey been married a lot. Some of his ideology sucks. But some of it doesn't. Steve Harvey reminds me of the guy who now he got daughters, so he want the world to be right so somebody could date his daughter. Yeah, that's what he strikes me as. Oprah strikes me as, okay, I don't like men. So, if you take her advice, she might not like men. It is what it is. You take Steve Harvey advice, he might want you to be good to his daughter. Because I don't, you men need to get it together. So, because I'm tired of taking care of these kids. Ain't my problem, Steve. Ain't my problem. But, he's made mistakes. Oprah's made mistakes. I've made mistakes. My parents made mistakes. My grandparents made mistakes. Yeah. I'm not saying let everybody off the hook. That's not what I'm saying at all. Because a lot of people ain't willing to live with their mistakes. But at least they've been in relationships to talk about it. We enter in a generation of people who are on Tinder hookups and and DMs and talking about they ain't gonna get into a relationship. You never got into one yet. This is people, we making fun, and I'm making fun of her too. We making fun of Jada Pinkett, but the vast majority of people out here single are in entanglements. Looking at their relationship like, I wouldn't do that. Nigga, you been a side nigga for 5 other chicks. You've been a side bitch for 5 other dudes. Oh, I didn't know. You knew. Stop that. But I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm done with my shenanigans. For now, at least. She had to change her voice like Mr. Rogers. Unknown entanglements as well. Yeah, okay. Unknown too. But, I could dig that. But y'all have a great one. Peace.